C-Note was actually named, in parentheses, Song for James. James is a friend of ours who we've worked with in the past in different projects.
Yeah, I've cut some records with him.
He inspired the song. And the C-Note, was another name for a $100 bill.
Yeah.
And one day I was in Chapter 1 Coffee here in Plattsburgh, and he walked in, caught my eye, and he came up, and he handed me a $100 bill. But it was so chewed up by his dog that it was useless. He had tried to go to the bank and get it restored, but there wasn't enough for them to give him a fresh $100 bill. So he walks up to me and he gives it to me and he says, "I'm giving this to you because I know you're going to write a song about it." And don't you know he was right, because by the time I left, I had sketched out essentially what is on the record of the lyrics.
I remember you sent it to me.
Even
pretty early on.
Kind of down to the music even, because I think that's partly how I write, is I try to get the flow of it with the words if I can. Mm-hmm. So before I left that day, I went over to James and said, "Well, I just wrote that song." And then he said, "Well, you got to name it C-Note." And it's in the key of C.
Yeah, of course.
And so there's, that was the main inspiration, and then I drew from another experience, which was us going to play a show with our other band, the Mountain Carol, in Jay, New York.
Oh, yeah.
At the interim Ausable Theater, and staying there all night and having quite a time.
Yeah, and we weren't even really guests. We just didn't leave.
Yeah. And so combining these two personal stories and then fictionalizing it a bit. For example, I don't have a dog, but a dog, factors heavily into it, inspired by James's story. But I kind of, that character has the dog and goes through the whole story. So, I think that speaks to the way I kind of write songs a lot of times, is I'll take some personal experiences and kind of push them to the extreme or externalize them and change them into a different kind of a story that still kind of gets at the same feelings or ideas, or possibly even synthesizes them into a new one. And that's the story of C-Note, or the Song for James.